Hello, my fellow starlings, and welcome to another episode of A Witch's Perspective. It is I, Vi, the Abysmal Witch, sharing with you my often crazy, rambly, and personal opinions on whatever it is that takes my fancy of the day, week, or as it turns out, month, because I am clearly on a particular trend this particular month. Because I have been going through, first it was forgive, and then it was forget, and then yesterday, from my point of view, last week from yours, was reconciliation. Got a little deep, got a little intense, but the topic is that. And today, I'm going to follow up even further, oh my words, oh my lords, on in the same kind of vein, same kind of trend. We're going to look at a very oft-used phrase, at least in Canada. It's, have I given it away? If I've said it's a very Canadian thing to say, do you already know what it is? I'm sorry. Canadians, we can't help ourselves. I bump into you. Oh, sorry. You bump into me. Oh, sorry. Because the moment just simply calls for, oh, sorry. We are very good at the sorry. Oh, sorry. 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 I get a lot of the time I do the empathetic story, and I suppose before I get too rambly off into the weeds, to acknowledge that the reason I want to talk about I'm sorry is it ties into this idea of debts that are owed and rebalancing of relationships to a place of reconciliation, to acknowledge, how do we acknowledge when we feel that we are at fault? How does that acknowledgement get received? All that kind of stuff. And it's in our language, and it's in the I'm sorry, it's in the apology. What is an apology? It's a statement of ownership that we were in the wrong. And then there's that interesting codicil of, if you would have done it again, are you really sorry? Not actually where I want to go today. I want to look specifically at the words I'm sorry, how they get used, and where I think things actually fall down a lot in that usage, because I think we were actually robbing ourselves of healthier engagement by trying to make little of things. Okay. So in order to get there, talking about I'm sorry, first we have to deal with the empathetic I'm sorry, because there are a lot of times that I have had to clarify this, where I am speaking with someone, they are going through a particular what have you that's really rough, and I'm like, oh man, I'm so sorry. And they're like, well, it's not your fault. I'm like, no, empathetically sorry. I'm empathetically sorry, because English doesn't have a great phrase, I guess, for the I hurt that you hurt, right? Is essentially what I'm trying to say. I regret that you are going through that experience because it sounds really tough and horrible, and I wish that you didn't have to go through that. And to me, at least, because clearly I keep using it that way, I feel like I'm sorry is a phrase that captures that, but at the same time, it really is used as an apology, and in which case people are like, thusly, well, it's not your fault. I'm like, yeah, I don't mean I'm sorry as in I did bad, my bad, I'm sorry. I mean I'm sorry, and sorry, sad that you are feeling the way you are. Okay, so we've taken the empathetic story and we cooked it on its has tipped it on its side. I don't know. What can I say? My brain, it rambles. So, I am sorry in the apologetic way. I want to tell you a story, because this is really, it was a clarifying moment for me in the ability to explain it to somebody else, and thus through that explanation, clarifying the understanding, my own understanding of something, which honestly is why I think to a large extent I'm doing these podcasts, is because by talking with you and to you, it's more to you than with you, because you don't really have much of an opportunity to respond. It helps me to codify and clarify my perspective on things, at least my current day perspective, subject to change at any time, particularly given new experiences and information should they come in. And it's a great way to tell also if you've really learned something, is to explain it to somebody else. If you can explain it to somebody else, you're doing pretty good. You've taken it in, the information in. That's just a general thing that you can do across the board. So there was this time I was talking with my boss at the time, who had been out for lunch with one of her staff, and for whatever it was that was going on, the staff person, it's a different kind of relationship, more of a mentor-mentee relationship than it was a manager to employee. Just a little bit of extra context there. The employee the mentee was repeatedly saying about whatever the item was that they were sorry. I'm so sorry. And no matter what my boss at the time said, the mentee kept coming back to that of the I'm sorry. And as the mentor, my boss was afterwards talking with me about it, and just not bemoaning, but perplexed as to why the conversation kept cycling back through the problem. And even though as the mentor, she kept saying, no, it's fine, it's okay, don't worry about it, it's fine, it's not a problem, don't worry about it, no, it's okay. And they got into a cycle of, I'm sorry, don't worry about it, it's okay, I'm sorry, don't worry about it, it's okay. And it was a loop. They were in a nasty little loop, and she couldn't figure out why. And I offered this idea to her, which I still posit as something quite plausible as an explanation, that when we say I'm sorry in the non-empathetic sense, we are saying I am at fault for a thing. I am at fault. I have done a thing that I believe to be of negative or harmful impact, and I regret that it has happened. I acknowledge, and going back to the previous episodes, you could say that by saying I'm sorry, we're acknowledging that there is a debt owed. Though it's an interesting thing. Would we ever actually pay it? Maybe that's why some people don't want to say I'm sorry. Maybe they are afraid that by saying I'm sorry and taking that ownership, that the account will now be seen as being owing, and that they will have to pay up and make restitution in order for us to come to a place of reconciliation. Which is not necessarily the case, but I could see how it would be very inhibiting. And some people are very inhibited when it comes to the idea of saying I'm sorry. And I just got a little screwed over travel-wise. People who use their indicator lights and they turn them on after they've already been sitting at a place for a while, I sigh in your general direction, because I had no opportunity to make a different choice in that moment. By not communicating your intentionality, you have robbed me of my ability to make choices in the moment that I feel might serve me in a better fashion. Mind you, at the moment, traffic is fucked on both sides, so what are you going to do? So here we are in the land of I'm sorry, don't worry about it. I'm sorry, don't worry about it. And because I do strongly feel that that type of I'm sorry is that taking of ownership, or certainly trying to take ownership. And what my boss was doing was denying that there was something to even be sorry about. I mean, that's what she was saying. You don't need to be sorry. This is not something that I consider worthy of you saying I'm sorry. It is not something that you owe for. It is, I don't recognize the debt that you say you have. Well, for the person who says that they have the debt, when they're feeling like shit because they think that they've done wrong, to simply dismiss it, I think, was the problem. And there are times I'm sure we're going, oh, don't worry about it, it's fine. Truly meant and able to, sometimes that's the right thing to do. It works, both sides happy. But it was clearly not working in this case. And I think it is that it was not the debt that was owed, that she was acknowledging, was not being acknowledged on the other side, that it was being dismissed. And I suspect that had my boss and the mentor in the situation had said, okay, look, I understand why you're saying I'm sorry. I accept your apology. I don't feel that there's the same need for it that you do, but I recognize and honor that you do have that feeling. And in that context, absolutely, I accept your apology. I think that would have been what was needed in the moment. I think that would have put a halt to their cycle of I'm sorry, don't worry about it, because it would have brought actual resolution to the moment. Because instead of acknowledging the dead, and in some ways when we say I'm sorry, a lot of times that apology is trying to offer up the acknowledgement, and I think we're hoping that that acknowledgement is in and of itself sufficient to get us through that moment, to get us into the, look, I know I fucked up, I will take ownership of it, can we continue to move forward in some form of relationship? You know, if we think broad ways around what it can mean when we say I'm sorry, I think this is some of the ways in the underlying meaning behind it. Well, if you're trying to say, hey, I did a thing, I screwed up, I really regret it, and you keep getting that just dismissed, but you have the feeling, your feeling has nowhere to go, it has no resolution. Now, admittedly, you really want to fuck over somebody who's having that situation, you just keep not allowing it. But I think a much more authentic and honest way to approach it, and something that we have left far behind in the dust, is an acceptance or a denial, if that's really how you feel, or rejection, of the apology, right? If you're fine with it and all is good, then simply go, well, okay, I don't feel it's necessary, but thank you, I accept your apology. Done. Groovy. And if they keep harping on, and it's like, look, I accepted your apology. As far as I'm concerned, we are done with this. If you continue on with it, then you are creating a different difficulty, and you're getting on my last nerve, and now I do actually have some issues with you, and stop it. Because sometimes we are in different levels of what is needed out of a relationship, and some people will really push and lean far into that. I need you to acknowledge that I have been the bad person, also because, you know, it can be used to deepen a connection and extend a connection through time with another person, not in a healthy way a lot of times, very negative, but for some people who are not necessarily in a good way themselves, it is a way to maintain attention and connection, unfortunately. So like with everything, it can have a very negative impact kind of side to it. So yeah, what if we were to, when somebody apologizes, to actively decide whether we are going to accept their apology or reject it? Because that's what's really happening. It again, getting a little accounty about it, but it's so convenient to strip it down to this very logical level that is all about the exchange of whatever the currency is of the day, which happens in this case to be relationship connections, I suppose. So if we take it back down to that level, and I apologize, I'm sorry, I recognize that I have wronged you, I've done something that has had negative impact for you, I regret that it happened, and I am willing at least to say it, if not to potentially do more should you need it, in order for me to make restitution for this, and for us to have a healthy communicated space between us, so that trust is hopefully not lost, or at least just diminished, not broken, etc., etc. A whole lot of subtext gets packed into an I'm sorry. Yeah, and maybe the subtext I'm talking about is not the subtext that you include, and that's okay too. That's the fun thing about subtext. It's sub. Huh. And how sure are we really about all of it? But I'm sorry is still a form of ownership. So let's say that that happens. And then from there, you accept it and go, okay, I acknowledge. Yeah, you did a shitty thing. I accept your apology. And by accepting it, we're really saying what you have offered is sufficient in order for it to bring sufficient restitution that we are coming back into balance. Maybe I'm going to have some, I'm not going to, I suppose you could say that by accepting the apology, there's a form of forgiveness in there. You were saying that the debt has been met, or at least has been started on. That would be a time of like, okay, I accept your apology, but that's not going to change how I feel about this, which there are degrees of engagement with the idea and the reality of apologies and restitution, right? So when we allow ourselves to not simply simply dismiss it as, it's okay, don't worry about it. And I don't know if that comes from a place of trying to make, like, I'm so unaffected that, see, zero affecting of me by what you have done. So denying the impact that has been had, denying our own emotions, truly not caring. Well, I'm sure it comes from a variety of places. Anyhow, so we can accept the apology, which is the time to either the apology is itself sufficient restitution, an excellent moment for clarification of, okay, I accept your apology, but I don't, or you could even go with, I appreciate the apology, but the apology isn't going to change things for me, right? That would be a form of essentially rejecting the apology. And for those who might actually be watching me, I've been staring at people and screens all day and my eyes are tired and I turn into a child and I rub my eyes. Not with my fingers because that'll make them burn even more. Don't want to lose the ability to see while driving. That would be deeply unfortunate. So, because we can accept an apology and say, yep, we're good, we're cool. Or we can reject the apology and go, no, I'm sorry, but I'm so Canadian. No, I don't accept your apology. That's really yeah, you fucked up, and you saying you're sorry, what you're offering me in this moment is not sufficient to rebalance the books to a place where I think we're okay. And that could potentially open up more dialogue, or it could be it certainly opens up space to go, no, I don't accept your apology. You could say, I don't accept your apology because I don't think you did anything wrong. Again, but you're at least acknowledging that they are trying to offer one. It's not like oh, no, it doesn't matter. It's like, no, let's acknowledge what they're really putting out there and address it as something worthy of being addressed. So you could say that an apology is not needed because reasons. You could go, I don't accept the apology because words don't cut it for me. You've hurt me too badly and I need to see change in action, not in words. So I appreciate that you're at least acknowledging it, but if we're to continue forward, I'm going to need more, and it needs to be in the form of action. Right? So it's a rejection of the apology and that opportunity for renegotiation. And then also you could just be so done with the person who's like, I'm so sorry. It's like, well, sometimes I think we just accept the apology to make them go away. I don't know if that's healthy, but I can see it happening. I could probably see me doing it, to be honest. To just be like, you're not worth more of my time and effort. I'm done. So fine, I'll accept the apology. Leave me the fuck alone. Because just because we accept an apology does not mean that everything is forgiven or forgotten. We have not necessarily reset to the beginning, even though I may have suggested that a minute ago. I feel like I might have. But it doesn't. Saying I accept your apology, I'm accepting the acknowledgement, but it doesn't have to mean you're forgiven. Right? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, thank you for apologizing. but I'm not done with it. I'm not over it yet. Or I appreciate that you're apologizing. I still need time to work through this, and I need you to not talk to me for however long, right? It all comes back to you accept it or reject it. And either way, you can add on your own conditions of what you are looking for in a way of moving forward from the incident, whatever, or incident, pattern, situation, circumstances that have led to the apology happening in the first place. So hopefully some of that made some cogent kind of sense, and maybe some part of it was useful. Maybe it sparked some additional perspective thoughts for you. Maybe, who knows, maybe even a little perspective shift on when do you use I'm sorry in an apologetic way with intentionality. Or are you like me and Canadian and it just comes out like 18 times a day? Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I was rambling there. Oh, sorry. Oh, gotta make that turn. Sorry. So Canadian. Well, this Canadian is wishing you the very best, brightest, or darkest, if that's your preference, day and life, and that you take all the joy that is present there for you, and that it brings you what you need in order for you to be your best self, which could be considered a curse instead of a blessing. Check out previous episodes for why that's the case. All right, my loves, take great care of yourself, and I shall talk to you anon.